I like that. Just the voice of Brad. We don't see him. We just hear the voice of Brad. I like
but
that.
We know you're there, Brad.
Did you already explain who Brad is?
Brad's the IT director for the city, and he's helping us out go live on YouTube tonight.
Gotcha. Thank
For
you.
this whole streaming thing. Very cool.
Oh, look, there's Brad. Thanks,
Hi, Brad. Thank you.
Did you get 8
Now we can
pictures?
go.
Yeah, maybe we can go to 9.
Roxanne.
And then Brad turns into Roxanne. Wow, it's magic. How about that?
Where? I can't see anyone. Okay. Hold on.
Oh, that's awesome.
We're all visible to each other.
I don't know. Hi, Roxanne.
Hi, Shanda. Hi, everyone.
I'm putting the link to the agenda in case anybody needs it in the comments or the chat, whatever.
Good. And okay, so let's call this meeting to order. And I reviewed the agenda. I think it looks great. Shanda and I spoke a little earlier, and we don't have any specific changes to make to the agenda. So I think it's fine as we go. Did anybody else have any adjustments they'd like to make to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on then. Wow, it sounds weird to say approval of the May minutes. Are we already at a point where we had a May meeting? That just seems so weird this year. Does anybody have any comments or changes they'd like to bring up for the May meeting? For the minutes, I mean? No? Hearing none? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Anybody?
Sorry, I was muted. I motion to approve the minutes.
Can I get a second?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Finally, God, it's like slow motion. Okay. Okay. So, let's see. Are all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Okay. Okay. Any opposed? Kelsey, are you saying something?
You're muted.
Your hands are moving.
You're muted.
Sorry, that's probably why you were ignoring me.
No. Did you have
Who seconded?
Oh, okay. Okay then. All right. The meeting minutes for May are.
Roxanne.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you get that, Kelsey? Okay. All right. So moving on. Item number 4, Center for the Arts updates. We'll go straight to Shanda.
Hey. So, Center for the Arts updates. As you know, the city is still, we're all in phase 1 still. But in the building itself, court has been happening. So traffic court is there through the end of June. And then we start our summer camps on the week of June 29th. So we've been doing a lot of trainings with our teaching artists who will come in and teach the actual camps. Signups are going pretty well. But again, it's very new for everyone. So we're just trying to make sure we clearly communicate all our new protocols and sanitizing procedures and social distancing procedures, and making sure the teachers feel supported and able to actually teach the camp. So that has been fun. There's something kind of fun happening downtown, which is the Sherwood Alfresco, and that opened last week. It's right across the street from us. And if kids and parents or anyone who wants to venture to our parking lots, either before or after an Alfresco experience, or they're just drawn downtown, they can do our Find the Fox game, which is kind of fun. So if anyone wants to find Artie, #find Artie. Kelsey and Leah made these cute little kind of cartoon versions of our little mascot, the fox, and then we hung them and hid them all over our parking lot. So it's kind of a fun little interactive thing that parents can do with their kids from the car or from a bike or from a scooter or just walking. So that's an attempt to do a project utilizing that outdoor space of our center. We are still, the big question mark is still when larger events will be allowed and how the execution of that is going to go in reality. So the center is unique in that we have, religious services, performances, events, and we share a bathroom with a retail restaurant space. So we're kind of, a lot of unique opportunities to have a lot of guidelines. But that's kind of where we are right now. Mostly still working remotely, although we do have staff there a couple times a week. And our online stuff is continuing thanks to those of you who click and follow what we're doing on Facebook and Instagram and clicking on those events. We're trying to curate some good things on there too for people to click on.
Which one of you was it that put up the thing about Shenandoah? Who found that? I don't know if the rest of you have seen that we have a link on the Facebook page to a performance by this boys choir in London, and they do the song Shenandoah, and it is awesome. Hi, John. It is fabulous. Made me cry today. It was just wow. So I recommend everybody go. I have not been good about visiting the Facebook page regularly, but I went today, and it was just all kinds of fun stuff. So,
when was it posted? Was that recent or?
I think it was last week, a couple days ago. It was one of the performance things.
Yeah.
I need to be better about checking.
Yeah, it was cool. It's very cool. Let's see, what else was I going to ask you? The thing about the Find the Fox thing, is that just an online thing? And so they just see it and then they go online and say, I found it, it's over there? Is that how it works?
So there are some little A-frames in the parking lot that you can read the directions, but you physically go to the space and look, and it's kind of fun to watch and see how many you can count. So we haven't publicized the number of foxes that are actually hidden, and I think they've changed maybe. I think one disappeared or two disappeared, but we'll replace those. But we haven't publicized the number, and people are supposed to take a little selfie with a fox to show that they did it, or describe the number that they were able to find, and then we'll do a little prize drawing.
That's fun.
For kids. Yeah, it's fun. And we have lots of little prizes available from various activities that we'll happily give out to kids who participate.
Okay.
So.
Cool. All right. Any other questions of Shanda regarding the center? Okay. Let's have a Friends update from Sky.
So the funny story,
Yeah.
since we last met, we were we were scheduled to have a Friends meeting today, and it just didn't quite work out with all of our quarantine COVID brains. So we basically talked about what we're going to talk about at the next meeting. So not a whole lot update, except we are going to hopefully talk about ways that we can still potentially fundraise for the center, even though we can't do it in person, and recruiting more board members. And that's as much as my brain remembers from an hour ago, but we've got a nice list. So I will have a huge update for you at our next meeting. I promise.
There's no penalties. That's okay. You're good.
But the good news, all the friends are doing great and healthy and thriving in their respective sheltering at home. I guess it's not really quarantine. So
yeah. But we know what you mean. Yeah. And there's something to be said for that. That's good all by itself. So we have to kind of keep resetting the bar for what's okay, right?
Right.
And that's just fine. Okay. Thanks, Sky. Sean, what's going on with the council?
Excuse me, not a ton to report. We've got meeting tomorrow night. We're passing or reviewing and passing the budget, hopefully, assuming there's no crazy last minute changes. We met already. We actually only met twice this year for a budget committee. We got through it pretty quick. Typically, we meet 3 times. A couple of years ago, we met 4 times, so it was nice to get through it this year. I think it's really because we're not really as impacted this year with our budget as we expect to be next year. Next year, we're probably going to be struggling quite a bit with money. But this year, we had to make some difficult decisions, and nobody was really happy about those. But we're looking at that tomorrow night, and then we're meeting again in July. Not a lot of exciting stuff right now, so I'm happy with that. We're good. We're trying to, stay quiet for now, but yeah, open for any questions.
I'm just curious if we had any, proclamations or things like that related to the Black Lives Matter action around the country. Is there anything going on in Sherwood at the city level?
So Mayor Mays signed on to a letter with most of the regional mayors, most of them, I think it was like 26 in total, who all basically condemned the actions of the Minneapolis police officers, expressed their solidarity with the Black Lives. I think they even specifically called out the Black Lives Matter movement, and spoke to equality. A while back, our police department, also our chief, along with I think 9 other regional police chiefs, including Washington County Sheriff's Department, all also very openly and bluntly condemned the actions of the Minneapolis police officers, and have expressed again their desire to ensure that everybody here acts in a fair manner and gains and maintains the respect and the trust of the people that they serve. So that actually came out quite swiftly, actually, after the Minneapolis, the George Floyd incident. That was, I think, probably within a few days. So other than that, I don't think there's been any official proclamation from the city that I can think of. But we've had definitely some of our leaders, again, Mayor Mays and Chief Growth, have joined with the other regional community leaders to speak up.
Cool.
Yeah, and as Shannon mentioned earlier, the Alfresco summer event is happening, and down on part of Railroad between Pine and Washington. That's all closed off, and trying to get some people out safely to enjoy some fine dining. And then Clancy's, I believe we either have or are in the process of making some accommodations for them as well. I know originally they were looking at moving out into the parking spots on First Street. I haven't been down there, so I don't know if that actually happened or not. I think Alan, the owner of Clancy's, was still trying to figure out the best way to configure the arrangement for him down there. But and then Fat Milo's, we weren't able to close that side of Railroad Street, but they built a fantastic patio in the back of their restaurant on the alley there. They really did a great job with that. So Fat Milo's is doing what they can to accommodate some extra guests as well. So
Very cool.
we're trying to see what we can do to help out.
I'm
So I
sure
can
there's
speak
been.
to-
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
Kelsey.
sorry. Yeah, Clancy's decided that the parking was more valuable in front of their business, so those barricades are going to move from in the front of Clancy's actually over to the front of Fat Milo's to do the same thing that was in front of Clancy's
Excellent.
before. But
Good.
yeah,
And Sean, is the social distancing and the masking thing been working okay for these restaurants so far, as you know?
I can't actually say. I haven't been down there. I've heard some successful stories of it. I think, just speaking in general, Sherwood has been pretty good with the masks, although I hear from my wife every once in a while. She comes back from Target and Safeway irate that she is seeing too many people out with without masks. And but I think for the most part, the participants down there are respecting our small business owners and our the staff that works down there and doing a good job. I haven't heard any specific complaints from anybody yet, so it doesn't mean that it's perfect, but I think people are hopefully acting in responsible manners.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like there's just irony upon irony upon irony in terms of all of how this is handled across the country and how people just see the same situation just so differently.
And unfortunately, if you're following the numbers from the Oregon Health Authority, we've seen some very significant increases in the last 14 days. And as you're probably aware, Governor Brown put a 7-day hold on any future or further applications to proceed forward. There has not been any talk that I'm aware of yet of anybody slipping back into a phase, but that is a potential, adverse reaction that could happen if things, go bad. You're not guaranteed to stay where you are. So, so I think the earliest that Washington County could even potentially move into phase 2 would be June 22nd. But we're not really there yet from what I can tell. So the numbers statewide have been going up. But, like the ones from today, they reported 184 positive tests, but a large chunk of that was from one particular location. It was like 99 at, I think it was another meat packing facility or something of that nature. So it was all together in one place. Washington County, though, has been fairly decent as far as stability, and as it is on a county by county basis, as long as the governor is confident to move forward again, then counties can start to start the application process again. So Washington County, I think, is close to applying. We had planned on applying for phase 2, but we've been put on hold for now. But I think if and when the governor lifts that hold, that we'll apply again and see what we can do. I know the big one there is playgrounds. Phase 2, I believe, opens up playgrounds, and everybody's really excited about that. So.
Wow. Okay, cool. Thanks, Sean. Any other questions for Sean or anybody else?
I was just wondering, I'm sure this information's out there, but for the Alfresco Dining, can anybody walk up, or is it reservation only?
I think reservations are highly recommended, just so there isn't a lot of queuing out in front of stores. And I can't guarantee this, but I would probably imagine, and Kelsey, you probably are much more familiar with this, I think they are all set up to take reservations, and I think that they would all prefer you do that.
Good, that's great.
So, the only places that aren't taking reservations right now is Smockville and Trees. Everybody else is taking reservations. A few people like 503, this is the first time that they are taking reservations in their whole, and so kind of bear with them while they figure out timing and things. I think that they're getting better now that we're into week 2 or 3. But and then people, as far as walking, they have to use the sidewalk on the other side of the street. So you have to use that and then cross over into the business that you want to go to.
Okay.
I didn't realize Trees is open. So their outdoor part is open?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, and also, so the ones that you are outside of Old Town, because at first it was going to be Old Town, Sherwood, Fresco, but we really wanted to make sure that we were supporting all businesses, not just the ones in Old Town. So Trees is also a part of it. Generations has a patio. Our Table has all of their outdoor seating, and they do Friday happy hours where you can go eat up there.
Yeah.
Those are the ones off the top of my head, but the full list is if you go onto the city's Facebook page and click that banner, there's a full list.
Thanks. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for asking that, Sky, because I wasn't too familiar with the rules on that either. Okay. Did we have any citizen letters come in, Shanda, this week, or Kelsey? Oops. Max. So I'm sorry, were there any citizen comments?
No.
Okay. So moving into other business, there's just a few things here I kind of wanted to bring up. And we had, in our last meeting, we had talked about just ideas that we could implement like right now in terms of public art, things that would kind of lift up the community, give people something to smile about, something to laugh about. John, you'd sent a couple of links. Unfortunately, that last one you sent about the symphony thing, I can only see the first 10 seconds of that link. I don't know why. But he's talking to his family.
Was it the same one that Shanda posted? Didn't you post it last night on the Facebook page?
Yeah,
There was
I
a
think it
preview
was,
one, and then there was the actual. They actually sent the whole thing out on Sunday night. The whole performance.
So
it's
are they
pretty
doing?
impressive. I hope everyone gets a chance to click on it. It sounds like it's going to be a series that goes several weeks, every Sunday.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't realize that was related to the link on the Facebook page. I didn't know they were the same thing. Okay. That simplifies things a little bit for me. Thank you. That helps then. So, Shanda, you and I spoke earlier today. We were talking about things that we could try to get off the ground relatively quickly, and murals and chalk things and temporary things. And in our last meeting, we kind of bandied around some different ideas and stuff, and those are in the minutes. But what are your latest thoughts about what things we might be able to affect in the course of like this calendar year?
So I think the main thing, and I know this is important to Kristen as well. Like it would be most powerful if it is something that is Arts Commission led and steered, and we are ready to support. But I think it'd be powerful if you all came up with something that was actionable and doable and feasible, and came up with a plan that we could all get behind. John, did you want to talk more about some of your light ideas, or just?
I can. Did you get that PDF I sent you?
I did.
Okay.
If
So
you
it's just.
click on the link that I put in the comments, I actually put what you sent us as other attachment, I think is what it says. So people can go to that link if they want to pull it up.
Chandler just went sideways.
I know.
Sorry. Right, that's how it feels.
Is the one that says something 6, Kelsey?
Hold on.
Is it in the meeting chat?
Oh, in the meeting chat, it's just a link.
Okay.
At 6:33, Bernie. Yeah.
Okay. Exhibit A. I love it. It sounds like, we're the Dragnet or something. Exhibit A. For some reason, I'm not getting that to open. Anyway, I'll have to look at it later. So, John, can you kind of describe how that worked, and are there ways that we can leverage it somehow or do something similar? Or is this all kind of high-end stuff you're just doing for certain clients?
The idea I submitted was more community-based art. Of course, my computer is acting weird. Get on technology. I was looking at something where people can collaborate. Either I'm trying to figure out how that works, like the social distancing version, or if we have physically receive collaboration pieces from people. And of course, my computer is not opening it on that one.
Here, I'm going to post a direct link to the PDF.
Thank you, Kelsey.
I was able to access it though. Thanks, just to tell you, Kelsey.
You were able to?
Yeah,
Okay.
it worked good for me. Yeah.
It was an idea of, I don't know, the sense of budgets or anything like that. Just
I
something I've been mulling Oh wow, I just freaked out on that computer.
I'm seeing the PDF now. This is really cool.
So they had the wings. We've kind of visited that a few times where there was like murals and different locations around the world where people were able to stand in front of these wings and take
Yeah.
pictures. I was at NAMM 2 years ago, and they did one that was projection mapped that had an artist that did black and white where all the space in between was all empty, and the projection map filled the blank spaces with color so they can change out the look. What I was thinking with the wings is if we can have people, community folks create different kinds of feathers with pictures of their family or sayings that are important to them, we could potentially kind of create our own sense of wings and maybe display it in one of the front windows so that you could come to if the art center is closed, you can still come, stand in front of the windows, and the wings are inside, and you can still take a picture with the wings behind you. So still interacting with the audience. That's the whole kind of message behind what's going on with the Oregon Symphony right now is they're still trying to figure out how to connect with their supporters and people that follow and love the symphonies is keeping that connection and the art and music going, even though we can't do it in person. So there was the mural idea. It's kind of like a collage of sorts. And then there was another idea of potentially doing a picture collage of, the traditional style cutout stuff, but where people submit pieces of whatever they pull out of a magazine or wherever they get it from, even if they're scanning, copy, pasting it, or I don't know if they can even somehow, that gets a little more complicated, if they could send it to us, then we can potentially assemble it on our side and again display it in windows. And just randomly was wondering how we stand on yarn from the Unity project heading west.
We actually do have a lot of yarn.
Have garbage bags full of yarn. We have skeins of yarn. How would you like the yarn?
That's the thing.
How much yarn?
Let's
That's
have
the
a
thing
little
too. Is
separate
we could create various like lawn or maybe that open field in the front of the art center. Different types of geometric shapes, kind of like in the examples I had there. And then there was the perspective one. I don't know how you would do that in a window per se. I guess you could still have it hanging on the inside of the window and then it changes as you walk by it. The link in there is, I think, from Pinterest, where I just did screenshots of it as they were doing it. It was kind of cool.
It is.
And then the Romeo Brito, the very popular kid artist, I did a couple of these in Art Lit for the school, where they did a couple of drawings. So, hey, draw this or draw these shapes and get colorful and creative, and then you shape it into something or a saying. Like the one example there is love, and we can kind of come up with some type of community message to put in the front window. And then there were the hands that had different shapes on them. I think you could get them with a bunch of different shapes on there, and then potentially a couple different sayings on the hands that are in, or that could be visible, and then you could do that as a collective art piece and arrange them together. Again, I also mentioned at the end about window treatments and potentially projecting, but you run into complication of competing with the sun, the brightness, and all that fun stuff. The stuff I have a lot of projectors, but they're not bright projectors. So there's that limitation.
Yeah.
But it could be something that happens at night too. I don't know how many people walk around at night, but the only challenge with that is we're going into summer, and how dark is it going to be that you're going to actually see it? People walking around the art center at 11 o'clock. So
Someone brought that up. We're not exactly a nightlife town.
yeah, exactly.
That's a bit of an understatement. Yeah.
Well, the only
I like
thing I
the
would
hands
say,
idea.
yeah, that's a good one. The nightlife, I think, though, this summer, we're all going to be stuck in town and we're all going to be taking walks and getting out on those hot summer nights. So I think it might be a little different this year, maybe more people out and about.
Yeah, maybe. As long as they're masked.
And then collaboration with, and taking into consideration that we're dealing with our typical summer bright evenings. It doesn't necessarily have to be mapped or masked or whatever. It could have some type of move. Just using, I've done that for a lot of dance pieces where I'm using a projector like a moving fixture. It just adds a little bit of light to it, where you can have, say, the wings going on or the hands, even if it's maybe not with a background. The hands are still coming up and the stars are separate, and the stars could be hanging down and you could be projecting from behind, so you have a little bit of backlighting going on the back of the art piece. It gives it a little bit more depth. I've seen art projects too where somebody did I don't know what they're called, but you look through a box and they have these layers of different parts of the scene. You could do stuff like that too within the windows, and then different perspectives where you viewed in the window, you see different things as well. I don't know how soon you're opening back up for summer classes and whatnot. So
we'll have kids in the building June 29th.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of good ideas there. To add to the string one with the old yarn we have, I don't know how this could be incorporated, but Ava had a good point that you could easily do designs in yards or by sticking forks in. Have you ever been forked? But in your yard, but sticking it back, plastic forks the other way, and then using the fork part to string yarn around somehow to make designs, with a bunch of forks in your yard or somewhere. And then also I just wanted to mention, were we still considering the lighting idea, or not just the projections, but like holiday lights, or putting up some type of wording or display with that, or to encouraging the community to do it as well. Maybe like a holiday lights in July type thing, or I think that's what we talked about last time.
Right.
We talked about like a shine a light Sherwood sign, something. I mean, I wonder if, gonna put this out, I know that backyard camping effort that they did in Lake Oswego was pretty successful, and I know right now in Portland they're, in lieu of doing a Rose Festival parade, they're having people decorate their front porches as floats. Like you have a map and you can visit people's front porches to see their floats. And those things, I wonder if there was something either themed or projected at the center that then people could take to their own homes and their own front yards. Because camping in your backyard or decorating your front porch, it's, hey, this unity theme. Here, take your own ball of yarn and share those creations in some kind of online format. But something that maybe germinates at the center and then spreads into the community.
Yeah, well, and I love if it's in front yards too. You can drive by and see, that people are all doing it.
What is the backyard camping reference, Shanda? What does that mean?
They did, I think it was Lake Oswego Parks and Rec, or a couple of my friends participated. It's knowing that all the campgrounds were closed in May, or I think it was May. They did just a citywide effort to camp in your backyard. So everyone was taking pictures of themselves in their tents in their backyard with their camping lanterns in their backyard. It was just a community hashtagable thing. And I say hashtagable not cynically at all. I mean, I think social media is a great vehicle to bring people together.
Sure.
But it was something that a lot of families could participate in, especially with kids, to feel part of a whole, since people couldn't, rent yurts and camping spots. But that just reminds me of, also similar to what's happening with the Rose Festival parade, the floats on people's porches, and wondering if we could take one of these cool ideas that John has shared and spread it.
Well, I love, John, I love every one of these ideas is cool. I mean, every one of them. The one about the mural, the feather wings and stuff, it seems like if we could get the right kind of artist or materials, we could put up one or two of those and people could just go to it and take pictures of it. So that one, it wouldn't have to be kind of, entirely COVID brained. I mean, it could be kind of somewhat traditional and still be useful and effective, even if we had to kind of have some rules around it, in terms of people behaving properly and stuff. But I mean, this one is so cool. I mean, obviously that's not a random little piece of artwork there, though. That's pretty, I'm looking at it on my other screen. That's why I'm looking over here. But that is so cool. That's just beautiful. And,
I love the wing idea, but I will say that Resonate across the street from Symposium has done it in their doorway right now.
Who does?
Resonate, the old Bella Via, right across the street from Symposium.
Oh, okay.
The event space. Yeah.
Is it on the back of the building then, or?
It's just on their side door. They have a big one and then a little one for your fur babies.
Oh, that's clever. Those of us that have pets, we'll do anything for our pets, right?
Yeah.
So that's good thinking, actually.
I think the idea, though, of something that you can insert yourself into is, I mean, that's a really popular, Kelsey, you could talk about Nashville. Like, it's very popular around Austin and Nashville, and a lot of cities are known for.
If we were going to commission 2 or 3 artists to do something like that, I mean, like Roxanne, I mean, how long is it if we were? Well, I mean, that's kind of multimedia. That one's like literally colored feathers and stuff. But if we were talking like paints and chalks, I guess we still have to get the same approvals we'd have to get though for the mural. Yeah. So that's still not a quickie, thing.
Well, I wonder what it would look like, John. What does it take to do something digital that isn't a physical presence? What does it take?
To
do?
And just bring it out and project it for a while, for different periods.
I mean, is it
muted?
Equipment, funds, design.
You mean projected in the window of the center?
Yeah, or on the wall, or on. What does it take to do that?
It doesn't take a lot. It's just what it is. What is it you want to project, and how bright the space is versus how bright the projector is. I also got to take in consideration the colors you use, reds and blues. When it's spread out, it's going to be really difficult to see. Of course, the darker you get, the better it's going to be. But the windows, you face the west, right? The setting sun. So that would be tricky.
When the sun's out.
Yeah, when the sun's out, true. But it doesn't take a lot to do. It's just utilizing the right equipment and, of course, picking the right kind of content you want to show.
As I cycle back through these images, as I come to the love one with all the colored things behind it, one thing that's appealing to me is that's something we could do a call out to the public and have kids create like these, give them the template or the thing to do, and maybe each one's doing like 2 of those kind of pill things. They're doing a pair, and then you could have like, a bunch of kids give that, and then we could bring it back and compile it on our end and then put it out and post it. But all those families would have some ownership in that, and they'd come and bring other people to see it wherever it's displayed. So the love thing I kind of like, because it could be a community project that gets kind of done at home safely, and then could be compiled and put together in a public place. But I don't know.
Yeah, because you could, like you said, you can give them the triangles or those like little tiny hills, or you can give them a letter. And not everybody necessarily knows. You can tell them what you're trying to do or what the end thing's going to say, but if you get all your letters back, you can make some kind of statement about community.
I mean, there's so many different words we can use about, what's important right now. Obviously, love's right up there, and compassion and hope and all kinds of other words. Sean, do you think, things like Black Lives Matter is a little bit too explosive right now?
I'd probably keep it a little more one word generic.
Okay.
I mean, I'm certainly in favor of that, but I think we gotta be more inclusive, and I hate saying that, but yeah, I think you know what I mean.
No, I appreciate your sensitivity. I value that, so that's why I asked. Well, so to me, out of the things on John's list, I like all of them, but the love thing seems like that's something we could kind of figure out how to do, put a call out to the community and say, hey, we're going to be doing this. If there are other examples like around this one, like, is this by this Romero Brito, this design, John?
It's just the project for kids. It was an example. And I remember doing something similar like this for an art lit project. But the kids put it together on their own. I don't think we even got to that artist this year.
Okay.
I would love to hear from Roxanne, I guess, having one of our we have a professional artist in our midst. I'd love to hear her take on the scope and the scale and feasibility and theme. And
Well, if it stays paper-based like these examples, that should be pretty doable on the windows itself. I think that, I like the idea of everybody doing their part at home and then compiling it, and the compiling will take the most time. And I think that would have to happen probably at the center, and probably at least a couple of volunteers and an artist, and might take all day, but I feel like you could probably get it done in a day, half a day even, once you have all of the, contributions from the community. And then get it, as far as getting it up on the window, we'll have to decide how to stick it on. But I think that it's pretty doable. Yeah, I don't think it'll take that much time.
How much surface area are those windows, Shanda and Kelsey? I can't quite visualize that right now.
oh gosh,
Trick question for you.
we just measured the panes for that window cling. Kelsey, I'm trying to think, like 4 or a good 3 feet.
That was pre-COVID, and my brain just.
It doesn't go back
hold
there.
on, like
I think that they're like 2 feet wide. Like, they're not that wide, but they're very
they're
tall.
long and narrow.
Yeah.
We could arrange it in a different order if you needed to. It doesn't necessarily need to be a landscape style.
Right.
And I was wondering too, I've done this before for other projects where I've utilized lighting gel. They have entire clear gel. It basically just keeps stuff from getting in your light fixture. We could potentially use a roll of that, and you can attach these to the gel so that the window is still clear. So you still have so just a means of attaching them together, so it's one sheet. You can still see through the window, so you can still see in the center. Or if you wanted to do some kind of background lighting on it, you could still pull that off as well.
There's a lot of gels.
You might even pull off a really cool shadow effect at night too if you did it backwards.
Are there thoughts on a theme? It sounds like
That means no more than 2 dots.
Can somebody mute?
Roxanne,
Your mic's not live.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. Dreaming comes to mind. I think right now with all this social unrest and COVID-19 and our children their worlds have been turned upside down. I think that some kind of message about not to stop dreaming, to expand your thoughts about what's possible right now, I think would be an inspiring message and a universal one, something like that.
That's a good one. I think of things just like hopefulness. I mean, I just think we need to figure out how to wrap it in hopefulness and gratitude for what we do have. And because I think even young kids get that. They get kind of relative, well-being and well-offness. I think they get that. So
I like the idea too, frankly. Oh, go on.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I also love the idea of, and it's literally out of out of many small contributions, we create a whole that is stronger because of its individual diverse contributions. Maybe that's more implied, but
I like that.
That's pointillism, right?
Well, that's a great idea, though. And, everybody can use a little Latin review every once in a while. It doesn't hurt. Get that old e pluribus unum thing going again.
I'd love to hear from, I don't see everybody's face on my thing, but Casey, do you have ideas or anyone else out in the team's verse?
I really love the idea of hands, like everyone make one piece and pile it up. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like the hands too because all the kids at Sherwood could participate and make their own. And then it's a reason to come to the center and try to find their hand on the window.
Yeah, that would be cute.
How do they identify it? Did they put their name on it, or do they put their own little sayings on it, their own words on it? How would they identify it?
Maybe you could decorate your hand.
They could put their name on the bottom of it. Yeah.
Well,
maybe they identify it.
Since of that layering, you'd never know.
Yeah, things should be covered up. So if it was designed, you could identify it, maybe the whole thing. But I'm just curious how it'd be identified. That's outrageous. I just love that. Are those on colored paper or are those painted? Oh, not everybody's looking at it, probably.
I think that they're drawn, but also we can't, whatever's put on the windows at the center, I believe has to be see-through if they're covering a large portion of it, at least.
It would be helpful, yeah.
That's what I was thinking about, the having the hands at the bottom and doing the clear with the stars could just hang down and leave that black space, not black, just open.
We have.
What if the hands? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. We have a whole, and I have in my basement also a giant box of unused theater lighting gels. I don't know if you're familiar with light gel, John. You probably are, but it's clear, but it has a cast of color over it, and as you layer, you can get all kinds of lighting effects. This is how you get lighting effects in the theater, but you can cut them, you can draw on them. Putting that out there.
So I have a question. Do we need to limit our kind of the real estate space that we're thinking about doing these things to the center?
You mean limit
the place we actually put stuff? I'm wondering if we can, if we try to think further and further outside the box, which I'm always probably too willing to do that, but maybe we even make this like it's a display and we take it down to Stella Olson Park or something.
I don't know if we could use the windows at City Hall where the council room is, the entrance to the back door of the library. There's all those plate glass windows there. That's being used. You put some stuff up in there, maybe?
Well, there's even windows inside the library. As you go from the city side into the library, there's some tall glass windows there, too.
Could these
I'm
pieces move
thinking
around?
like the hands, like some of the other things, we might overwhelm what's available at the center. Is all I'm thinking.
Could they start at the art center and then be transplanted to a new or different location? And then the next piece comes in the window at the art center, and then that one moves on. And
I like that, because then we could do like the hands, and then we could do like the big love thing, the big collage thing. But these are kind of assignments that the kids out, well, not just kids, but people out in the community could have, and they'd have different due dates to have to get in. And again, as far as collating it and stuff, I'm thinking that's us. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I'd be cool with that.
Yep.
Obviously we have to have a master plan that we all feel pretty strongly about, but so you were thinking, Roxanne, like maybe a day to do like the love thing to pull the pieces together, but we'd have to make the decisions about sizing and how many people are going to do it, how many do we want, what are the dimensions. I'm pointing at Shanda up in the corner. She's probably not in everybody's corner. So, talking to you all in specific places. But we probably have to kind of do some homework here to figure out how much and where and how much do we need of things and stuff. So I think we'd have to have that as kind of a first step to kind of do a reality check.
yeah, because you got to figure out, do you have the hands pre-cut out, or do you have them cut out, or you just give them the size paper so that way you're constraining the size? Say, take this piece of paper, raise your hand on it, cut it out, draw the black on there, and then watercolor or whatever is going to show the black through. I think your medium, whatever medium you're going to put it on, you can limit your size that way.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, if it's a physical thing, we want to just minimize touch and contact. So both giving out the materials and receiving those materials back. It's not impossible, though.
Every one of those handoffs is a complicating factor, though, for sure.
Yeah.
But if we have them do it, boy, they'd be using all kinds of different thickness of paper and stuff, and it wouldn't look nearly that beautiful when it's over, probably. Because there would be too much variation in the thickness of it and stuff.
Standard construction paper is not. There's a lot of variation to construction paper, right?
Well, if we made that a requirement, but they're going to have to go out and get that construction paper probably.
Well, what about, I mean, I would say a lot of school-age kids have construction paper or something at home. Not everyone, but we could easily have a template available for download, so everything was the same size, and they could print it out, and then just some clear, easy instructions about what's needed.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Sorry. My husband just crawled out of the room.
If we're doing hands, can't they just trace their hand? Then you don't have to worry about that. And then there's variation and individuality. Maybe.
Yes. But I think if we gave specific instructions on this type of paper, I mean, I think it would be pretty simple.
And we could also tell them that they need to use cardstock, which is easy to find at the store at Walmart or Target, and it's thick enough that it can handle marker and most watercolor.
It's fairly inexpensive too.
Yeah.
What was that?
Also have cardstock available if someone really didn't have it, have a pickup time that they could come get it. I wonder if this is something we could collaborate with, people who use the library and people who use the senior center might really love to contribute to this project as well.
But maybe a basket they put out front or something with paper.
Roxanne,
And it
what do
depends
you
on
think about?
timing.
Sorry.
Because senior center will not open for a while, and even then it will be by appointment only, and same with the library. And I think that for gathering the materials, you would need to plan on or collecting from people coming in. In the library, people are starting to be able to return books slowly, but we have to let them sit for 72 hours before we can touch them. So there need to be some protocols in place if you're asking people to drop stuff off.
Yeah, Roxanne, what do you think about using a fix-it on them too once we get them? Shouldn't that kind of help and take care of concerns too on the end of all of that?
Yeah, I think putting spray fixative is a good idea because some kids might use, different media that, will rub off. So, but I think it'd be great if we let them, give them some guidelines, but also let them make their own thing with it. If it's a tracing of a hand, that will give it the continuity that we need for it to look like it's a thought out project. But I think we should leave it open-ended too, so that way families don't feel like they have to go out and buy a bunch of new art supplies.
I think you might have just solved one of the problems though, because when we talk about the materials and the touching and stuff, if you're putting fixative over it, that's going to seal it. So you just took care of one of the COVID issues by doing that, I think.
Well, you still do. I like the idea that what Kristen said about the 72 hours, is that's kind of one of the new, or everything everybody's doing too, is letting things rest. Yeah. Does anybody know how it works in the sense of paper? What the time frame is on paper?
I mean, I know cardboard was 24 hours at one point. But
I think it's actually less now. Steve has the actual newest data. I could ask him.
Duh. Yeah, go get it.
Surfaces are pretty more and more they're finding not as much of a problem as they thought. Really, the most infectious part is in the air next to each other. But some surfaces are definitely better than others. So I think cardboard even got less, but I will find out the exact.
Well, and I guess I would just not want to have it. That's the policy, and that's what the OHA has approved for the libraries. And I wouldn't want to do something different literally across the street than we're doing in one location. Even if it is overkill, I would rather lean on the side of caution. And if that's what we're doing for safety of our staff in one building, that's what we should be doing for safety of our staff and volunteers in the other building.
We could also have an option. I know there are people in my circle of friends who really are not leaving their house to go anywhere still, too. Not even doing grocery runs. And I know there are a lot of people in our community with those same concerns. So maybe there's an option to email, to digitally get their thing to us, and we can print it easily on cardstock.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is that if they somehow they can either take a photograph of it with their phone and you just blow it up digitally to the size you need, even if they don't submit them to us at all, if they can get a decent size photo of it, or the higher tech people a scan of it, then you can reproduce the color print. But then you've got the expense of the color print,
right?
And then the labor cutting it all out. So,
and if it minimizes a touch point,
it does.
Another. What are thoughts?
I love the idea, but I do think with everybody, concerns still really high, and it's just a little tricky with having so much contact. I like the idea of it on the computer, if they can get it to us that way. But that's also why I love the idea of something that people can just do at their own home and share without having to go anywhere or get anything or drop anything off or pick anything up.
Yeah.
There's great apps out there now for phones that do amazing things like Sketch.io, and there's another one that my daughter uses a lot to sketch on. That's really, I think it's called Ibis Paint, that you can do a lot of drawing on, and then you get a decent sized image out of that too, especially for what we're trying to do with it.
Can we afford the cost of printing them out individually for a great deal of people?
So we don't have a budget that we can use.
That sounds like no.
I mean, well, I'm trying to think.
I have another thing to say. Hungry Hero did it for the rainbows, and it looked like a great deal of people were willing to participate and draw them and drop them off. I have a hunch that a large majority of people would be okay with it being physical. That's just my opinion, though. I guess what I'm saying is I think that I hope that that wouldn't stop us from doing it, because I think we could get around that. Like, we could keep it safe while still dropping it off.
I think that's a great point, but I will say that he is a private business, so he decided to take that risk on himself. You know what I mean? So
I hear you. Yeah, that is definitely a good point. Yeah, that's true.
But I think your point is right that we would get participants for
For
sure.
sure. Yeah.
But it's just like how we handle it on our end and with the city, and making sure that we can follow. If we're getting the city and their building involved, then we do have to follow the safety standards that the OHA, if that's what they're following, then, which could be a little bit of a pain in the butt.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess the other question I have is, logistically, does it make sense, and do we have the room and the manpower to deal with a drop-off date and time, or multiple drop-off dates and times, and have it be on some surface to sit and have it, I don't know, let the germs die for a day or two? Is there room for that, and is there time for that, and is there someone to be able to receive those kids and their submissions?
Like the garage quarantine we do with our groceries or our shipment boxes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like in a safe spot that it wouldn't be messed with, but also, a safe spot.
So the center isn't open officially to the public, but I wonder if this is something that, just like the sheep were transported in our own cars, could we have a bin, a Rubbermaid tote in somebody's garage, and we have a drop-off spot?
Could we maybe talk to Smockville and have a little bucket or something inside there? Is there actual restaurant part open indoors for people? I mean, maybe have just a little drop bucket where people could drop them off in there.
Oh, right inside their door? I see.
Yeah, just have it right inside one of the doors. Have a little bucket, say, drop your art here, and then just somebody gathers it nightly or after a couple nights.
Yeah.
I mean,
That sounds pretty good.
It's all possible, I think.
I have another idea. What if we have a community-wide art show, and then you take the liability away from the center? The center can be where you start and go see what's on the windows there, but then you walk throughout Sherwood and try to find other art spotted on people's windows, like of their, the window in front of their house. And then people can take photos, and whoever sees the most art wins something maybe, or, comes back to you with all their sightings. I don't know. That way you don't have to worry about people getting each other sick or dropping things off. And then it's like a little treasure hunt to try to find the art in the windows in Sherwood. I don't know. Just another idea.
That's good. That's got a lot of, I think there's a lot of appealing aspects to that. And we'd have to find some bounds to recognize what is a piece of art. So as people are going around, that's a bona fide piece. So, but I like that though, because it goes back to Sky's thing. Then it takes us all the liability and other things away. It's right there in people's houses. They got everything in their house to play with, and they got a canvas right there called a window. And I like that. Then the world is their oyster. So I like that. It's a lot freer to get at.
Maybe you just pick a theme, and maybe have a set of words that are inspiring, and they could choose the word they want to emphasize. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's, I don't know. I'm just thinking about my kids' school. They have something they call heart skills, and each one counts. It stands for something like accountability, honor, like all these values. Maybe we pick a handful of words that encompass inspiring or kind messages that we want to convey about Sherwood. They can choose the word they want, and then they can make a big mural on butcher paper and put it on their window, and then we get to go look for them throughout the community, and it's something to uplift people, kind of like when you see those signs that say don't give up, or but one word, so it's not complicated and there's less opportunity for it to get weird.
Well, and I like that because that way you're going around trying to identify it, you can see the word and oh, there's a qualifying piece. So
right.
I guess like just a minimum, like, okay, it needs to be this minimum size or even a shape, I guess. And other than that, just let them go crazy and say, just pick your word, make the word visible, and you're on.
And what about back to, I love all of that. I think that's great. And then just in addition to that, but also going back to what we talked about previously, and when Shanda said about the Rose Festival floats, I don't know why, but I thought of the Starlight Parade. Like, what about a Sherwood Starlight Parade where people could put just different light displays up? But that could be incorporated with what you're talking about, where maybe some people are doing art pieces on paper. Some people might do a light display. Some people might do, who knows, whatever they want. But
to incorporate light somehow.
Well, you're muted, Roxanne.
Roxanne.
Sorry. maybe you want to do a 3D project and make a sculpture in your front yard, and people want to come check that out. Maybe we can make 2 or 3 choices, so that way if you're not a painter but you like building stuff, you can still participate, and it's something for everybody to look for.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember when the gardeners just did, this is adding another element, but the gardeners did a Easter egg hunt where people put up Easter eggs and colored, and we did that, and people would on the Facebook page type in their street, so we could have somewhere where everybody could enter their street of where to go look for an art display. So okay, there's one on Aspen Lakes, or there's one here, and people could even say, mine's a after dark display, or so people just knew kind of what to look for.
So
and there could be like
go on, Roxanne.
I was going to say, then you can have at the center a map with all the participating streets. That way you're not singling out a particular address, but that way like there's something on that street and you can go look for it there. And that way there's a reason to go to the center too, right? So
at the center, but we could also do one online.
Mm-hmm.
If we come up with a name for this project, we could make a page for it. And then, have like a map there where people can get it, or the center could share it if they would prefer to do it that way.
So is this bound by any kind of time frame? Do we try to focus this by a certain day to put your stuff up and it's going to be up for X amount of time? It seems like that's a question we're going to get asked, so we should probably give it some thought.
I think anything that's actionable needs a due date.
Yeah.
Start and an end date. But summer is a great time because, we're all outside. We're all trying to exercise, walk our neighborhoods. It's light out longer. Hopefully someday it'll be warm out. But it's a great time. Who has ideas about the feasibility of starting this on a certain date?
I have a question. Is the Robinhood Festival a no-go, or is it going to happen?
Canceled.
Maybe we coincide it with that weekend, maybe, or have it open around that time. I don't know. When does that normally happen?
I think it's really soon. It's like the second weekend in July. Yeah.
Okay.
Are they doing anything? Does anyone know if they're doing anything like the Rose Festival, where they're trying to put anything Robin Hood-ish up?
I just talked to them today, and they are working on doing a food drive at Veterans Park around that time, and then just putting up a couple of their big wooden figures if people want to take pictures next to them. But So simple, but that's what they're shooting for.
What about the end? I mean, it's June 15th. So by the time we get it all the semantics worked out, I feel like at the end of July or beginning of August seem like a legitimate time.
Yeah, I think beginning of August would be perfect. End of July, definitely, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, we could even call it like an end of summer or something, but I guess July's middle summer. So.
So if you like the idea that it's the two different things, it's the create your own art and put it up and use one of the words, that's one program. And the other one has something to do with lighting or some kind of physical display outside in your yard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they could be combined. If it could be just that the lighting is one. I mean, unless you wanted to do something separate, but the lighting could just be one way people are using that art. Like you could put a love up in your yard or something, or
true, yeah.
Or somebody could use a sculpture. I mean,
I guess the same whole rules about the first idea could be used in the second one too. Yeah, I don't see why not. You would eliminate the size restriction on the outdoor one though, because I was thinking inside you have you don't want it to be too massive, but outside the world it's your yard. Go crazy.
And I mean, I guess we could do two separate phases too, where one is just all about lights and one is, all artwork that's more of a specific thing.
And, if we're going to do it so that's individual pieces like that, maybe collectively we could make our project that inspires that kind of look, and we put that in the window as a, hey, look, we did it. We did this as well. From the art center.
From the center.
Yeah, and we could also look if you'd like to try to incorporate some backlighting using projection to something that would reflect well with the projector. There's a lot of different things you can do with projectors. I also did a quickie thing. My daughter showed me this thing called Sketchpad.io, and I don't know. Can you see what I just shared?
Yeah.
Hope that's working. I just did it super fast. I did a blue layer, and then I drew the hand, and I drew Dream, and then you could layer in all kinds of shapes, and you can fill the shapes with different colors. I could have made Dream different colors as well if I wanted to. Like I can go and change it to pink or yellow, orange, whatever. I don't know how many people know about the app. I didn't know about it until my daughter showed me it. So
it's called Sketchpad.io.
Yes.
Well, I know what we will be downloading. Okay.
It's all online. You don't have to download anything.
Oh gosh.
Which is awesome.
John, is this the same company that makes Sketch.io?
I think it is. I think it's called. Once you go to it, it's Sketch.io.
Cool.
But it's sketch.io / / whatever it is, Sketchpads /
Nice.
So, and that other program has even more details to it, but this is like so fast. Like I've been using it for work when they want something this super fast to fill something. I'll create in that instead of having to worry about whether or not I need to activate a Adobe account on a machine.
Oh yeah.
So this is awesome. So we're hearing themes of
How to unshare this?
Oh, we can stare at it. It's fine. But so themes of hands and dream and light are resonating with folks, and something that connects everyone, but maybe originates at the center or has an example at the center that you guys create that then is spread throughout the community. Am I hearing that correctly?
Also, I would like to take photo for those art pieces. If you think it's a good idea, that would be great to have some record in digital files. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay, John, it's really freaking me out that you've been frozen for.
I'm frozen?
You've been frozen on and off all night long.
You
It's
have
probably-
been frozen for me in one position the entire time.
It's probably whenever I was doing that Sketch IO thing, it probably like froze my video.
No, most of the night.
It's been the whole meeting.
I think out there at Schaefer Road or whatever it is, Schroeder Road, I think I don't think they have high speed out there. I think it's still dial-up or something.
No, you're
my,
right.
my little gerbils are catching on fire right now. I have to go put the little extra coolant in their cage for them.
Guys.
I have dual DSL, folks, so yeah, I'm not getting rubbing sticks together to get the.
All right, quit talking all your weird techie stuff. Not following.
So do we want to, how do we want to, so let's say I am your average Sherwood family and I really want my girls to participate. How would this go out? Would this be, how specific, I guess, how specific are we making the parameters? Or what are your thoughts on what are the parameters? What are your,
I'm going to go grab a piece of construction paper. I'll be right back.
go for it.
Well, we won't know that he's gone because he's frozen, but still, we'll just have to trust that he's going to get construction paper. I was just thinking what a square foot looks like as a minimum size. Is that too small, Roxanne, to be useful?
A square foot? I think that's too little.
I think it is too, to be visible from the street. Like,
yeah,
so
because it needs to
least
be
18
visible
inches.
from the street.
it needs to be at least like 18 inches square.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Seriously?
see you, but
I'm frozen?
I'll show you. Let's see.
I think if it could be 3 feet at least square, that would be better. Just because it's hard to see things unless they're a bit big. And paper's pretty inexpensive, so we don't need to force people to buy canvas or,
So minimum 36 inches square, or how about 36 inches round? Round, okay?
I feel like we need one shape if we want people to go down a street and look for things. That's me.
What do
Square.
you think, rectangle or square? I want to lean towards rectangle so there's more room for the artists or the kids to convey their message or their art. So
Rectangles are easier to get to if you're just an average person
exactly.
getting a piece
Yeah.
of paper. It's a rectangle.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it'd probably be good for me to, or one of us to look and see what a standard large size pad of paper is locally, because I don't want to send people off on a wild goose
So-
chase.
Target for Crayola brand construction paper, 240 sheets is $5. I think it's less
Okay.
at Walmart.
In what dimensions? was
They
that?
can also
That's
They can also tape the pages together to make a bigger page if they want to. So, read you on this for a second.
that's 9 by 12.
Oh, that's only 9 by 12.
Also, people's windows are different shapes, so I don't want to lock it in too much.
Right.
I think we should just encourage people to go as big as they can with their windows, but not lock them in, because that's going to be discouraging, I think.
So how about it has to be a minimum of 36 inches and at least one dimension? I just think we have to have some minimal rule so that people know what they're looking for. Right?
Right. Well, you know what? Why don't we say minimum 18 by 24? That's too small in my mind, but we don't know if someone lives in a little house and their windows are small. I don't know.
I don't know. I think 36. You could get to a
You
36.
think that's fair? Then let's do 36 inches square minimum. How about that? That way they can see it from the street.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I think that's something we should probably test and put a different size things in the window. Go stand out in the street. Can you see it? Can you read it? Or do you have to walk up to your front door in order to read it?
And does their target word their featured word need to be a certain size too? Probably should be, right? So that's visible from the street as well. So Does that need to be at least a foot high? Probably.
I will say those don't give up signs. You can see them from the street, and they're not that big, right?
Yeah, they're just like realtor signs. They're lawn signs. They're pretty standard. But I think what is so successful about them is it's a singular font and it's black and white, and your eye is drawn to them because of their simplicity. But yeah, you can see them. They're lawn signs, realtor size.
So Shanda's hands it just became huge.
Oh, sorry.
You got your hand.
I really like this hand idea.
So I'm sorry, from that last piece, did we determine then that the word needs to be a minimum size to fit our criteria? The lettering? You were talking about real estate signs, but I was talking about the lettering too.
Oh.
I don't know what a standard real estate sign size is. Let me see if I can Google that real quick.
I would imagine that's probably about
I think
30 by 36 or something.
1 foot by 2 feet. Not too big.
And then how do we get the word out about this? Do we put something in, well, the paper is just always got such a long lead time. We've got the mailing list from the center. We could use that if we decided we want to do that. We could could we do some kind of broadcasting to try to direct people to the Facebook page? How would we even tell the public about that other than the page itself?
I think social media, I think positively Sherwood, I think press release to the paper, or even just someone calling up the paper and saying, hey, there's a thing going on. Could you have a reporter report on it? So, all those things are good ways.
Okay.
Bernie, going back to your standard size for the wording, I think the wording itself should be 18 by 24. So that way you can see it from far away, but there's still room to do other stuff. So the wording 18 by 24, the signage and art around it can be as big as you want beyond that. That's what I think.
If you guys can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still frozen, man.
Probably. If you like the hand idea, here's another option as well. And again, it doesn't have to have a background. It could just be on the window. Depending on how you want to fix it to the window. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Is that
cool.
frozen?
Oh, no. So were these individually submitted?
What's that?
I'm sorry, whoever spoke can go first.
I was just going to say what strikes me about this image is how everyone's reaching. And, to me, it looks like everyone reaching towards something hopeful, which reminds me of the word hope someone brought up earlier. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. I was asking if these are all individually created pieces by individual artists.
I would believe so. They're probably all different kid class projects.
A lot of different styles there for sure.
Yeah. So when you start doing art lit, you can tell the people that sat next to each other because they tend to do monkey see, monkey do. You got people that have the swirly hands, and then you got the people that do the crisscross and the square. So saw that a lot in the art lit classes. And they said, okay, you just do your own thing. And the whole table was the same thing.
If we're asking people to do something really specific, might we post a little tutorial video of someone leading them through this, like Ava or someone, or like someone actually doing the project and leading people through online, and a little how-to video that we can
That's
share.
a great idea. Yeah, for people that like the idea but they're not quite sure they do it, they don't want to be embarrassed, kind of thing.
That would be fun.
Sounds like you're in, Ava.
Yeah, Ava.
Hey, she's got nothing all summer.
Well, and just speaking as a
Thanks,
parent
Mom.
as a parent of girls who would love to do it, like they would much rather. I mean, they would be in if like Ava was doing an instructional video of it. They're not going to be in if I, as their parent, am like, hey, there's a thing.
Good point.
Just another way in is all I'm saying.
So Ava is our cool factor.
A little bit.
I mean, she usually does this on TikTok, but she can do it on whatever format you would like.
There's a platform for you right there.
She does put together like videos of drawings and paintings from start to finish, but it is mostly on TikTok. So I'm sure she can handle that on a video.
So that other program I was telling you about actually records you in time as you're drawing it, and you play it back, and it draws the whole thing out for you, like what's it called? That
time lapse.
Time lapse, but it speeds it up.
That's
pretty cool.
It's not. Is it the Sketch ID one, or is it?
No, it's that other one.
Ibis?
Are you in here? Yeah, Ibis Paint. Ibis Paint. That's like a phone app.
What's it again?
Ibis, IBIS Paint.
Have you heard of that
I
one?
believe I have that on my phone. I use it a couple times.
And that's the one that actually can do the kind of photography thing, time lapse?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, Ibis Paint X.
Okay.
I'm still frozen.
Yep.
And everybody's frozen, and I can't see anybody now. Everybody just Bernie. I can see Bernie.
John, can you clear your screen? Maybe that'll help. Or quit sharing your screen.
Yes. Okay. How's that?
Now everybody's back for me. You're still frozen though, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm missing
Cool.
Sean and John, but everybody else.
I'm Kung Fu Fighting. Too bad you're missing that.
So how I'm just put out there, like I am in big favor of everyone getting a TikTok account someday too, because that's where everyone under the age of 30 is going. We're all going to need to get on that train someday, and then TikTokers will flee to somewhere else because it won't be cool anymore. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, a TikTok video of this project would not be bad. I am wondering if we could come up with some kind of title, some way to talk about it that is very short. Like, what's a tiny 15-second elevator speech about it that we could easily give our neighbors, and what's the overarching title that we want?
Yeah, the thing I called it was a community summer collage collaboration, or something along those lines. Might be a bit rough off the tongue there.
That's a lot of syllables.
Yes.
And then you could put Sherwood in front of it, so there's two more.
Community summer collage project, or collaboration project.
Community collage. That's a
Community collab.
Collab, yeah.
Community collaborative collage.
Collaborative.
Collaborative. It's not really a collage though, because it's not all going to come together. So that word doesn't really fit it anymore, does it?
Yeah.
It's more of like an expression.
Collab.
It is more of a collab. If that's a word, I guess it's a word now. Community
it's
collab.
a hot word, Bernie.
It is now.
You find it on TikTok.
Yes.
Community collab artworks.
So are we doing hands? Is hands the theme? Is that our theme? Or dream? Or both?
I thought.
The reaching. With the hands,
So
it's reaching towards any of them, right? Sorry. Okay.
So if we were talking about, we morphed it to, are we now just saying we're only doing this at home, at our homes, and with something starting at the center? Or so I thought that the art that we did at home could kind of be whatever, but are we saying it's going to be hands, or was that just going to be at the center? Where did we end up? I kind of got lost.
I think we need to decide.
Yeah, I don't think we had done that technically. We haven't. We were doing two different things earlier, and now we kind of spent time on the home thing. So the hands is kind of still out there in play. Roxanne?
Because the hands wasn't the home thing, right? That was at the center or throughout town. Okay.
More or less. That's
In
fine.
my opinion, if we're going to do the hands, it would best be served at the Sherwood Center for the Arts. I think it looks more impactful when you have a bunch of them and they're arranged artfully. But if we want to offload liability, I think that's a whole other thing. If we're doing it at people's homes, I think that the hands wouldn't work as well. That's my opinion.
I also think, based on my experience with doing a bunch of little kids, kindergartner through 5th grade, I hate saying this, but I think I would want to cut the hands out. Plus, you run into a lot of issues where stuff might get ripped based on how it's stored or transported. Where if the hand is just drawn on a piece of paper and then you can cut it out yourself, you spray the fixative on there, cut it out, wear gloves, whatever, and you're done. You don't have to worry about someone's project getting damaged.
Well, how about if we just make the hands kind of the home piece that the center is contributing to this overall project, and it just happens to be the coolest, bitchinest one because it's large and it's got really cool design, and our people have collaborated on it. It just happens to be our contribution to it.
So we want to call it like Hands Across Sherwood, a community collab.
Yeah.
Hands across Sherwood.
Hands across.
Hands.
I think that's pretty good.
It's from the 80s, right?
That's very,
I think
it's
there
good.
was a Hands
It's a good
Across
slogan.
America
Yeah.
at one point.
I don't know how to take care of the cost of this, but you could have templates for the hands at Art Walk that's on July 9th and just have people pick up their hands that night. They take them home and do their art on it, create however they want to, and then drop it off at the center in a bin or mail it to the center in one sheet.
Or
Have them sit.
email it.
Yeah, or scan it and email it. Have it sit for 72 hours if people have dropped it off, and then turn all the hands over to you guys, and you guys can all cut them out after they've decontaminated.
Would that be considered a handoff?
Oh, oh, that was a little heavy-handed.
Oh.
Oh, and he fires back.
Lamely.
Those hurt. Those are
Let me
hurting.
give you a hand, Bernie.
Yeah, that was bad. Well, okay, let me. I'm trying to put all the pieces together like I think everybody is. Another way to think of this is that we have the independence and the freedom for them to do what they want out there, but we could tie it all together with the Hands Across Sherwood. Or have you ever heard of the term Schwoody? Because we live in Sherwood
No.
or Schwoodies. I just read that somewhere
That sounds
yesterday. It
horrible.
just cracked me up. I'd never heard of that. A Schwoody.
I've heard people try to make that happen, and it hasn't.
I'm
So-
going to
I can
put my
see
foot down
why.
and say
It
no.
doesn't really roll, does it? A Schwoody.
No.
But anyway,
They tried to make Newburgh into the Berg, and that didn't.
yeah.
No.
Anyway, sorry for the distraction.
No.
We talked about Hands Across America. Maybe we could say they still can do whatever they want, but there needs to be some reference to the hand on each of their paintings. Just somewhere inside their painting, they have their word and they have a hand. And the hand could be I don't know that we have to say it's the same. It's a fixed size. I mean, what difference does it make? Depending on how much real estate they have, if we make it be a certain size, it could take up, an inordinate amount of their space. So how about if we just make a hand a part of each one? And then on our one back at the center, all those hands are reaching up in a very hopeful way somehow. So by extension, everybody's kind of a part of that one at the center.
Well, there's sense too of being able to join hands without physically being able to do so.
Ooh, there's
You
a
know
clever
what I mean?
play on words.
How about joining hands and creating a brighter future? I don't know.
You're trying to get the hope aspect in there, and the dreaming, and the.
Our hands will all be together again soon.
What is I'm looking at Ava's face every time we say something, so the
Ava,
cool
what's
She's
the
just
cool
embarrassing
factor just
me,
going,
I
Yeah.
know.
Ava,
No,
give us
no.
your opinion.
But it's not like she's not used to it, right? So
Help us not make it be a lame thing. Thank you.
I don't know. I can't think of a good name.
What do you think it's a good idea though? Do you like?
Yeah, I do.
She perked up with the video demonstration, you know. So, but the only thing I'm wondering, I mean, I do like that. I love the idea of just all different art displays, and I think we're going to be kind of being very specific about what people can do, which is fine because I think the hand theme is cool. Yeah, it just really makes it super specific about what people can do at their own houses. So we're taking out the word and the.
Oh no, I want to keep the word. I think the choice of word is important. I think they should still have the word, and they should still get to use whatever subject they want. There's just a hand in there to represent. It's a part. It's just a part of this project. That's all.
Okay.
I like the idea that they still have whatever license they wanted, creative license they want. I think they should get to keep. Hey, there's John, and he's moving. Look at that. He lives.
He's alive. Right.
So are we thinking riddle me this.
He's muted.
Are we thinking like a living art gallery throughout the town that has sorry, I'm going dark. I'm losing battery. A living art gallery kind of thing that we start very thematic at the center and then it spreads throughout the neighborhoods and becomes something else.
Could the hands be made into those wings? A sense of lifting you up with hands?
Or reaching towards, think of the, the famous, the Michelangelo, the fingers, the fingers, Adam and God's fingers touching. It could be something like reaching up towards a hand.
Just as long as we don't overcomplicate it too much.
Yes. We got to get
Yeah, that's my concern is that we got to pare this down.
We don't want to intimidate people. We want to make it easily and make accessing it real simple.
I feel like you guys are trying to merge every single one of the projects, and we really need to keep it simple because, like Shanda and Leah and I tried to launch just hearts in people's windows when everybody was in like strict quarantine, and hardly anybody did it. So
the library did it.
Getting people to do this project is gonna be hard. Like, not to be cynical about it, but just
my neighbor did it, Kelsey.
Thank you. Tell her I appreciate that.
I will. But I think you're right, and I think that with the whole art gallery throughout town thing at everybody's houses is one thing, and hands thing and the whole other.
Yes.
And so if we're gonna do the hands at the center and the hands, just something hopeful with the hands that we got simple. If people are going to do it at their houses, I mean, I don't know. It seems like those are two separate things.
Yeah,
doing it throughout town, and then you know what I mean. So we need to pick.
And if we want to pick words, then it could go. That's a whole.
And to me, that's more of like the art gallery at people's houses throughout town. Like, give everybody a theme, and then they go with it, whatever they want to do at their house.
Well, maybe.
Go ahead.
With the word thing, maybe we can let people pick what words speak or what single word speaks to them. And maybe at the center, if we do whatever project that incorporates a word, that single word, maybe we could change it out. We could pick a different person's word throughout however long we do this, switch that out at the center for a week or something like that. I don't know, trying to incorporate them into us.
But then we're not doing hands, right? So we're saying that's if we don't do. Because to me, it's either we do the hand thing and keep it really simple that way, or we do the word thing.
I agree with you, Sky. I think we either should do the hand thing and have it be at the center and you drop it off and that's where it's at and that's where it lives and it's done. Or we need to do words and let people pick from a predetermined list and put it in their windows and that's it. And skip the 3D stuff and all. It needs to be simple. Otherwise, we're going to lose everybody. It's going to be too all over the place.
I like the second of those. I like the idea that people have the most flexibility to do what they want in their house, and we pump it up and we encourage them to get out and go for their walks and to try to go out and spot things, and maybe we have some kind of a light contest around it or something. But we use it as a way to get people out of their houses, off of their butts in this COVID time, and to go out and get some fresh air and see what their neighbors' creative abilities are and have some fun with it.
That's what we should do. I think that would be the most realistic thing to execute, most doable, most impactful, and the less drama, the better. And I think that's
no cost.
Yep.
And it's still got the Ava TikTok component. So.
So talk me through, is everyone hearing the same thing? Talk me through what you're hearing each other say.
Roxanne, you go.
I think we should have a predetermined list of inspiring, hopeful words. And there should be a very simple set of instructions. You pick a word, you make an 18 by 24 inch sign, and you put it in your window. You can use white paper, and you can write it however you'd like and decorate it however you'd like, but make it visible from the street. And then boom, you're done.
Yeah. So are we dropping the light idea and just going with some type of artwork, just paper artwork in your window?
I think you can encourage people to decorate around it however they want.
Yeah, it could be open-ended medium.
So any artwork that goes around say I picked hope, I could do a big, beautiful drawing. I could do a big pink heart in my window with lights, or I could do a statue in my front yard.
I think you should be able to go all Griswold on it if you want to.
John Lyles' family's contribution might look more fancy than.
And then people can let their street names.
3 people would see it.
Yeah, I was going to say John's would have to be pretty impressive, because to see it from the street where he lives, it's going to have to be like 50 feet tall. So
I'll drive by. Can you drive by and see it, John?
Yeah.
Do you
We'll do Burning Man in the front yard. What do you think, Bernie?
What's that?
I'll do a little mini Burning Man in the front yard.
You'll have a pyrotechnic display every evening at 7 p.m.
Yeah, there you go.
To pull that off.
And so what it will do eventually, what I'm hearing is eventually it'll act like a progressive dinner, except instead of going from course to course, you're going from art house to art house, or house displaying art to other house displaying art, and you can go along a route and kind of visit these houses.
And so do we expect everybody that's going to participate to let us know, so we put them on this map, basically, so it starts on a specific date, and we hope to have everybody ready to go by that date, and we publish a little map, and it's on a website so it can be updated, and so we're going to try to direct people out to different streets. Is that still the idea?
Yeah, I think so. People could know where to go look. That would be nice. It's just street names. You don't have to give house numbers.
Or street names between so and so and so and so, for example.
Sure.
Because some streets are really super long. So
yeah. On Sunset somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
but like progressing from, we want to like a progressive, like a garden tour or a progressive dinner, or you're going on this route, right? Is that what we're taking?
I think that people, I don't know. That
might complicate it, right?
Yeah, people might just want to go for walks around their neighborhood. I mean, like if you live in Woodhaven, you'd have probably lots of options and just go for a nice long walk every night.
So enhancing your, great. So yes, just making notes for myself.
And And I love this idea. I have to say, I'd be a little worried about participation. I mean, I think this summer will be better because people are out of school. The hands is it pretty easier for people. The full art project. What do you mean?
We have to.
So words bring up poetry to me. I'm gonna throw that out there. If there was like a line from a poem that it was based on, like, I mean, hope is the thing with feathers, right? The Emily Dickinson thing. There you've got the word hope, you've got feathers, you've got hands making feathers. Do we want to have a poem that it's based on, a piece of poetry, or a line from a quote? Is there a way to put all the words together if we're using words?
I think you have to keep it simple. It's complicating it.
Yeah, I'm trying to simplify it so it's not just random words. Like, where are these words coming from?
Or I see what you're saying. Like a reason for the words, that makes sense.
Whoa. Can you guys not have the dog bark?
I think it would also be okay just to have a list of like hope, love, dreams, I don't know, community, but it would be nice if there was a line or something we could use that made it make sense.
Just throwing this one out there from Nelson Mandela. It's in your hands to create a better world for all who live in it, kind of thing. And the art of life is to show your hand. It's another.
That's good.
Well,
if we're doing hands.
An actual quote like that is something I can see us successfully putting up in our window, because it's light can flow through. It's not blocking a window, but it's a touch point, like an actual quote from a respected person like Nelson Mandela. I mean, that could be a low.
I think that would be cool for the center. Like, it would look cool on on one of the windows for it to say hope and something in a sentence, like from a poem. That would be cool. I think that it would be confusing for everybody else. Like, I think it shouldn't be on the instructions, or that could just be like a cool extra thing.
Yeah,
that's at the center.
Well, like it's emanating.
Yeah, I'm not saying for everybody to have that, but like a centering spot where here's this quote from which these words are drawn that people are.
I like the line that you said, hope is a thing with feathers. That's cool. Something like that would be cool at the center.
And
something
there's a Shakespeare quote in a sense, now join your hands, and with your hands your hearts. So that might be a good transition one to the Heart Project or something like that. Who knows? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and I liked some of the things where you were talking about art being the unifying something. I know there's quotes. I just can't think of any right now.
I don't mind the idea of having a kind of a mother quote, if you will, at the center, but I don't want to. I'm afraid if we do that, it's going to dictate that list down to something really small. And I think I want to give people a choice of part of their creativity is picking the word that they want to work off of. So to me, I'd just rather have a nice list. If we have a nice poem or something to tie it to at the center, or in the way that we advertise it or something, I think that's fine. But I would just be afraid. I don't want to limit people's kind of creative palette for the word they choose.
Yeah, I agree.
So how should we allocate the next steps of this? And what are we able to discuss post meeting? I would love to have an action plan going forward and and someone in charge of words or someone in charge of a small piece of it.
Since we're all here, do we have time to maybe spend another 5-7 minutes deciding on the words right now, since we all can talk to each other? We could just come up with the list now and type it in the chat window or something like that.
And Sean, if there are some words that fit really well with the council goals, I'd be curious if some strike you.
That's a great idea. Let me bring that up and see if we can incorporate that. Give me a second while we're working on this.
I know livability isn't as artistic sounding, but it's, you know, it's real.
Yeah, that doesn't really get me going.
Too many syllables.
Well, I think we've got, you know, some obvious ones. I think we can just go through, I mean, hope and love and trust and truth. I think those are all important things for us right now.
And dreams was one that I heard. Dreams.
Maybe belief. That means a lot of different things to different people, but I think belief is a very positive connotation to me.
Community.
Dreams.
That's a big one.
Community is a great one.
Community.
I know this is 2 words, but I love the idea and the reality of stronger together.
Yeah.
2 words, though.
Like that.
Well, I think we can make an exception for that and allow that to be a 2-word. That's a great one right now, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Good one.
Do you have any idea?
Does compassion fit into this word list? Or gratitude?
Gratitude is a good one.
Sherwood.
Sherwood.
That's a word.
Shwoody?
No. What
Bam.
about no persistence or
Persist?
persist? There you go. Persevere.
Maybe persevere. Maybe.
Yeah, persist has a slightly edgy sound to it in this moment, so maybe persevere is better.
Persevere, yeah.
What's another word, Ava, that kind of has resonated with kids this last year? I mean, it's been a weird year. A lot of things have gone on. Are there words that you can think of that kids have used that are out there in the media right now?
None that are very encouraging, I don't think.
No.
All the ones that I just said were from a list she pulled up and was pointing to for me. So the ones that I just said, like persist and were a list that we were looking at.
Okay.
So we're looking for rallying around words. Yeah.
Yeah.
So words you can rally around, words you can get behind. Those are great words.
How about
strong? I mean,
what about
2020 strong was like
pride?
big.
That was
Pride?
Well, it is Pride Month right now, so pride means something
Pride
really
is good.
specific right now.
How about
Yeah, they did.
embrace?
What?
Embrace? In this COVID non-hugging time, just the verb feels good to me, embrace, but
yeah, I like that.
Embrace is good. What about help? Help or helper?
Faith.
Faith.
safe?
Yeah. Faith.
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 Oh, faith.
I just keep thinking, keep on believing, the Journey song.
Yeah.
Or what were you?
We don't have the word charity. Is charity relevant?
I mean, love is on there. I know
Yeah.
it's slightly different.
But
Maybe
charity is
give.
kind of charity is kind of like giving
Yeah.
and
Yeah, this good.
Give, yeah.
Give.
give is good. Or maybe giving. Or give.
What about understanding?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thinking of things we need more of.
Yeah.
We need more giving.
Yeah.
We need more understanding.
Oh, what was, I just thought of a good one.
need more hope, need more embracing.
Grit, tenacity. That's kind of the words we've talked about for the class of 2020.
Yeah.
Overcoming, just grit, tenacity, toughness, overcome. I think, did we say that? Overcome yet? I don't know.
We didn't.
I think so. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm doing a quick time check. So let's try to wrap up as best we can. And still, I like Shenna's idea of coming up with some assignments. So I'll take the words, and there's my list. So I'm good.
Nice try.
And so we talked about a time frame. So we'd have to have a kind of a marketing person. We'd have to have somebody that's going to help work on the instructions. And I think Roxana kind of makes sense. You might be up in that seat or near that seat.
I can put together the instructions for the art assignment.
Okay.
Me and Ava could do marketing.
Perfect.
Okay.
And Ava, you're still good with doing a little video? Being the
How to?
Yeah.
How to?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. And we want to make it as bullet pointable as possible, or just as easy for families to follow.
And do we keep all this hosted on a Facebook page or some kind of a public site to try to make it, use that as the main vehicle for messaging? Now, of course, not everybody's on Facebook. I mean, most of the world, but not everybody.
I mean, we can put info on our website, just like there was info on the Unity project on our website.
Okay, just right on the website then. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
But Facebook does allow, the good thing about social media is it does allow those interactions. So it could also be a Facebook event and have people post in the event.
Mm-hmm.
Comments has worked.
And then how long do we want to have it? Because we need, in addition to the starting date, we need to know what's the length of this. Are we going to run it for like 3 weeks?
And as Kelsey mentioned, there is Art Walk happening July 9th, which will be running most likely outside the center. So that's an opportunity to
advertise.
Get the word out.
Even kick off if you wanted.
Maybe we could have little flyers that tell the whole story ready to hand out at that point. Why don't we make that kind of one of our target dates? Because that might be the best chance we have to physically get it to people.
And I would encourage I would encourage even putting a piece of paper together and a QR code. So if people are really uncomfortable picking up pieces of paper from other humans, that's a good idea. You can create a QR code on your phone easily.
Right.
Link right to the instructions. Just take away one touch point.
Well, so maybe that could also be kind of the whole kickoff date for this whole project then, and we try to have our ducks in order by that time. So, we can have the website and the other things ready to go at that time. Is that making sense so far?
Or at least have the instructions. Is that the
Yeah.
The info?
And let's see what else. The nice part is there's no real physical production on our end, which is good.
Our personal.
Do we want to have? It seems like it would make sense too that we document this along the way. So some of us, we could take turns or have a way that we go around and we document it all. We take photos of all of it so we could post them all to the website too over time.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be that hard to do, and people would get a real kick out of that. Hey, that's ours. So that'd be kind of fun.
Casey volunteered to take some photos.
Yes,
I can do that.
Casey, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That would be great.
Do we have a name for this thing?
No, but the more we talk about it, I do kind of like the community collab. I think collage falls out because it's not really a collage anymore. But something about the community. If we can come up with some theme around like resilience, or we're in this together, or hands out, or oops.
Would it be bad to call it an essential collaboration?
A what?
An essential collaboration?
Yo.
Like
Essential?
essential workers.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just in the sense of keeping people connected through art. I don't know. To me, it's essential, but maybe not to everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sherwood.
Like
Maybe something like what I wish for you, because all these words are things that we wish for each other in some way. They're inspiring, kind of loving things that we want to let each other know about in a visual form. So I don't know, something that encompasses that idea would be good. I don't have the right name yet, but something like what we wish for you, or
maybe,
I wish you love,
like that.
I wish you hope, I wish you.
Or what I wish for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then that
That's
word.
kind of beautiful, actually. That's very beautiful.
I think that's simple, and it also feeds into the use of the word itself. And when people look at it, that's kind of, they go look back and they, what's this whole project called? What I wish for you. That's pretty cool. I like that. That kind of makes it pop.
And it also makes it very personal. Like, it makes it something more personal than a giant word like love.
Yeah.
Might we host those words on our window then? Maybe we could just put the title of the project and the QR code in our window facing out.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely.
Okay.
I also think that what I wish for you will make the word list easier to compile, because then it will fit within that sentence.
Right.
If it sounds good with that, then it could work.
Yeah. Resilience would fit there too.
For sure.
You were resilience. Yeah.
Yes.
That word.
I was thinking that exact word.
Oh, great minds, Ava.
So how do we, we're out of time kind of for our usual meeting. Since we are streaming, this is all and kind of out in the world too. So we should probably try to wrap this up, but we can have some kind of a follow-up conversation, Shanda, all of us, as long as we're not doing it in a chain email.
Let's make sure.
Kristen, you still there?
No.
We can't have big discussion points.
Can we have an additional meeting and it's just
how do we move projects forward without
You can have another meeting. I mean, as long as you advertise it and have a quorum. You don't have to wait. There's no restriction on that. Or even if you're going to have a smaller group and you still have a quorum, it's fine. You just have to advertise. Someone has to take notes.
Okay.
And
So
especially this way, you can use Teams, and you can meet those public noticing requirements without. People are still welcome to show up through the team or put in chat information, I guess that way, I should say, but comments, but.
And how far in advance is the notification?
We have to receive public comment 24 hours in advance. So you need enough time to be able to let people know that so it's probably 72 hours. Does that sound right, Kelsey? Do you remember?
I was thinking 48, but 72 would be safe.
Yeah. I don't think there's a specific noticing requirement on that. We just, if we're saying 24 hours, if we're asking them to give us 24 hours, we should give them at least that amount of time. And again, we have not received a lot of comments through any of our board and commission meetings, but it's just making sure that there's the opportunity.
Okay. So it sounds like we could hold another planning meeting next week just fine, as long as we noticed it and took notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Minutes.
So in the meantime, then could we ask that each person who we kind of went through that list of things that's kind of owning a piece to kind of give it some thought and try to just flesh out what they can from what we've talked about tonight. And then we come back together and we just kind of start working on what that project plan looks like next. Should we do it next Monday at the same time to keep it simple for everybody? Does that work?
Works for me.
22nd.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds good because we can make some progress because we have 3.5 weeks before July 9th. So,
And it
Okay.
looks like the only task that nobody jumped at was like someone would need to create a QR code and also create some kind of a visual something, not a logo, but some kind of unifying visual thing with the title of the project. So just putting that out there to think about.
okay. We can all give that some thought. Okay. Well, great. Thanks, everybody. Great conversation. That is absolutely awesome. Shanda, was there anything else you wanted to talk about tonight in our open section here?
No, we are still working on all the things.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, and just trying to honor our usual time, I think I should let everybody go. Thank you all so much. Great conversation. This was a lot of fun tonight. Great to see you all. Can't wait till we can actually meet together again sometime. That'll be so
Miss
fun.
you all. It's nice seeing you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Good
Brian.
night.
Thanks, Guy.